In the shifting sands of ancient Egypt, beneath a sun that has watched empires rise and fall, lies a story that has haunted humanity for over a century. It begins in the Valley of the Kings, a desolate place where the silence hangs heavier than the desert heat. This was a necropolis, a city of the dead, built for pharaohs who believed death was just the start of another journey. Among the dozens of royal tombs carved into the golden cliffs, one remained elusive, its entrance buried under rubble, time, and perhaps the will of the gods. It belonged to a boy king, Tutankhamun. For thousands of years, his name was just a faint whisper in history. He wasn't a great conqueror or a builder of monuments. He didn't shape the fate of nations. And yet, no other ruler's legacy casts a shadow as long and as mysterious as his. This is the story of how a forgotten tomb was found, how a young pharaoh became an eternal icon, and how a curse real or imagined spread terror across the world. The year was 1922. The world was still healing from the devastation of World War I. But in the parched desert of Egypt, a different kind of war was being fought, a race between scholars, treasure hunters, and museums, all desperate to uncover the last great secrets of the pharaohs. At the center of this race was one man, Howard Carter, a stubborn and brilliant archaeologist obsessed with finding Tutankhamun's lost tomb. For 6 long, grueling years, he searched the valley, funded by one of the wealthiest men of his time, Lord Carnarvon. Each year, they dug. Each year, they found nothing but broken pottery and crushing disappointment. By the end of 1922, Lord Carnarvon had had enough. He gave Carter an ultimatum. This would be the final season. One more chance, one last dig, and then fate intervened. On November 4th, 1922, a young water boy working for the excavation team accidentally tripped over a stone hidden in the sand. As Carter's crew cleared the area, they realized it wasn't just a stone. It was the top of a carved limestone step. Carter's heart raced as they dug further. Step after step emerged from the earth, leading down into the darkness. It was unmistakable, an entrance sealed with the royal necropolis symbol. The jackal god Anubis watching over 9 bound captives. This wasn't just any tomb. This was a royal burial. As the team descended the staircase, they reached a sealed doorway, its plaster stamped with the official necropolis seal untouched, unbroken for millennia. Carter immediately sent a telegram to his patron, Lord Carnarvon. It read, "At last have made wonderful discovery. Come at once." 2 weeks later, with Carnarvon standing beside him, Carter made a tiny breach in the plaster door. Holding a single candle to the hole, he peered inside. Carnarvon, breathless with anticipation, whispered, "Can you see anything?" Carter replied with a trembling voice, "Yes, wonderful things." Inside was a glittering chamber, overflowing with gold, magnificent statues, alabaster vessels, and gilded chariots, all untouched since the death of the boy king. But this was only the antechamber. They would soon discover that behind a second sealed door lay the unthinkable, the most intact royal burial ever found. Overnight, the world was changed forever. But from the moment the tomb was opened, a dark legend began to grow. On the doorway to the burial chamber itself, ancient hieroglyphs etched a chilling message. "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king." Most archaeologists dismissed it as a standard warning to deter ancient grave robbers. But then, people started dying. Just 5 months after the discovery, in April 1923, Lord Carnarvon died suddenly in Cairo. A mosquito bite on his cheek had become infected, leading to fatal blood poisoning. At the exact moment of his death, all the lights in Cairo inexplicably went out. Newspapers around the globe exploded with headlines. The Pharaoh's Curse strikes. The creator of Sherlock Holmes, Arthur Conan Doyle, publicly claimed that dark elemental spirits guarded the tomb. The story spread like wildfire, and the strange deaths continued. Lord Carnarvon's pet canary was reportedly eaten by a cobra, the symbol of pharaonic royalty. Archibald Douglas Reed, the radiologist who X-rayed Tutankhamun's mummy, died shortly after. Carter's own secretary, Richard Bethel, was found lifeless in his bed. His father later died by suspected suicide, surrounded by Egyptian artifacts. Each incident added more fuel to the legend of the curse. But perhaps the most mysterious part of the story was Tutankhamun himself. He was only 9 years old when he became pharaoh. His reign was short, lasting barely a decade, and was filled with political turmoil. Egypt was recovering from the chaos caused by his father Akhenaten, who had tried to replace all of Egypt's traditional gods with a single deity, the sun disk, Aten. Tutankhamun's advisors worked tirelessly to restore the old religion and bring stability back to the kingdom. The boy king's own life seems to have been fragile. Modern studies of his mummy show he suffered from a clubfoot, a degenerative bone disease, and likely had recurring bouts of severe malaria. His sudden death around the age of 17 remains a mystery. Was it an illness, a chariot accident, or was he murdered by political rivals? No definitive answer has ever been found. What is clear, however, is that his burial was rushed. The tomb was surprisingly small for a pharaoh. Many objects inside, including his iconic gold mask, may have been repurposed from other royal burials. Yet for all its imperfections, his tomb remained perfectly hidden and undisturbed for more than 3,300 years, as if protected by something unseen. As Howard Carter and his team spent the next decade cataloging each room, the sheer scale of the discovery became clear. This was the most complete ancient royal burial ever found. Inside were thousands of objects, including the magnificent gold funerary mask, 4 nested coffins with the innermost one made of solid gold, hundreds of statues and ritual daggers, one of which was forged from meteorite iron. There were chariots for the afterlife, golden shrines with guardian figures, and thousands of everyday items, from sandals to boomerangs. But one moment overshadowed them all. When the team finally opened the solid gold coffin, the air filled with the scent of ancient resins and perfumes. And there, beneath the final layers of linen wrapping, lay Tutankhamun himself, his mummified face serene, his secrets still intact after 33 centuries. The discovery captivated the entire world. Museums battled for the priceless artifacts. Newspapers printed daily updates. The Pharaoh's Curse became a global obsession. And at the center of it all was Carter, a man caught between his monumental scientific achievement and the supernatural speculation that swirled around it. So, was the curse real? Despite the sensational stories, modern studies show that most members of Carter's excavation team lived long, healthy lives. Carter himself lived for another 17 years, dying at the age of 64. From a scientific standpoint, there are logical explanations. Sealed tombs can contain toxic mold, bacteria, and ancient spores. The air inside can be poisonous. The harsh desert environment itself could explain many of the illnesses. From a psychological view, it's a classic case of confirmation bias and media exaggeration. fed by our natural fascination with the supernatural. But from a cultural perspective, the ancient Egyptians absolutely believed their tombs were protected by powerful magic. They inscribed warnings and buried protective amulets, specifically to strike down intruders. So perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between science and belief, myth and history. In the end, Tutankhamun achieved in death what he never could in life: immortality. His name echoes across continents. His golden treasures draw millions of visitors. His mask is one of the most iconic symbols in human history. His story endures, not because he was a great ruler, but because his tomb was the last great secret of the pharaohs. Hidden, silent, and perfectly preserved by time. Whether you believe in a curse or not, one thing is certain: Tutankhamun wanted to be remembered. And he was, in a way that neither he nor the priests who buried him could ever have possibly imagined. The myth of the curse continues to fascinate us. Scholars debate, tourists marvel, and Hollywood tells its stories. But the true magic of this discovery lies not in death, but in the moment of its uncovering. When Howard Carter peered into that dark tomb, he didn't just find a burial chamber. He opened a window into a world frozen in gold and silence. A world where the line between history and legend is as thin as a grain of sand. Tutankhamun's story isn't just the tale of a boy king. It's a reminder that even the quietest voices from our past can echo louder than empires. The pharaoh sleeps still, but his legacy, his curse, and his mystery will live forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.